This is absolutely unreal. Season 5 wasn't just a finale, it played like a last-minute scramble. The writers straight up admit they didn't even have the ending fully finished while they were filming. The Mind Flayer, this once terrifying, rule-breaking supernatural force, gets downgraded into a basic, big monster boss fight. Demogorgons get sidelined because of monster fatigue. No major deaths because the show is supposedly meant to stay fun. And you can feel it. Whole sequences come off rewritten, rushed, and stitched together under deadline pressure. Even the documentary unintentionally puts the mess on display. Awkward creative choices, characters getting shoved to the side, and a forced, passing the torch setup that doesn't even fit the story they told. But here's the real kicker. There's one ignored detail that links all of these problems together and strongly suggests the ending we got was not the ending they originally planned. Miss that detail, and suddenly the entire finale stops making sense. And the wild part is they keep exposing themselves, day after day. The Duffer Brothers have been stuck in what feels like a non-stop public humiliation loop ever since the Stranger Things Season 5 ending dropped, and somehow it continues to get worse. The fandom is already writing secret finales that honestly feel more compelling than what the show actually delivered. Meanwhile, you've still got people fully convinced the Informity Gate theory is real, and that it's happening this summer on June 1st. That rumor is spreading like wildfire on Twitter, but it's Twitter. What did anyone expect? Then Netflix drops the Stranger Things documentary, the full behind-the-scenes making of Season 5, and from a PR standpoint, it is not a good look. Fans combed through it, compared it to what had been posted and discussed online, and started noticing weird little inconsistencies and suspicious details. Including, of course, speculation that ChatGPT might have been involved in parts of the writing process. And once that kind of theory catches fire online, it never stops. At this point, it almost feels like the Duffers are trolling the audience. Like the documentary was engineered as one giant piece of rage bait, because scene after scene across this long runtime, you're watching it unfold and thinking, how is anyone surprised this is blowing up? How can you not see what this looks like? Now look, I'm not anti-behind-the-scenes content. I love it. I'm a huge movie nerd. I love watching how the sausage gets made. I'm fascinated by everything. Fight choreography, previs footage, monster concept art, makeup tests, practical effects, VFX planning, performance direction, line readings, every bit of it. I love those moments when the cast gets the script for the first time and sits there reading this massive finale, reacting in real time. That's genuinely exciting to me, especially as someone who wants to get into filmmaking. But more than anything, I love seeing the cast interact on set. The chemistry when the cameras aren't rolling, the way they support each other, and those emotional moments near the end of production where it hits them that it's almost over. That part of the documentary is easily the best part. It's real, it's human. It reminds you that even if the ending is controversial, the cast and crew still poured themselves into the work. And then you get to the script moments, big twists being read aloud while you watch the cast react. Like the part where Steve almost dies. And let's be honest, anyone with a functioning brain cell could tell that was a fake out of the highest order. This show has pulled that move a million times, but it's still revealing to watch their reactions because it shows what the writers expected the audience to feel. And I'm not going to lie, some of the dialogue this season is painfully awkward. You can hear it in the room. You can feel it. Sometimes the crew laughs and I'm sitting there getting secondhand embarrassment because the line hits the air and it just doesn't land. It's cringe. It's stiff. It feels like a draft, not a final version. And we're going to talk about why that might be, because the documentary shows something else that's honestly kind of terrifying. There are moments where actors, like the actress who plays Robin, look genuinely confused. Like there are scenes where the story contradicts rules established in earlier seasons, and the cast is basically forced to remind the creators and directors what the show already said was true. That is insane. It's like the Duffer Brothers forgot their own lore, forgot their own setup, forgot their own world building. Like the foundation that made Stranger Things work suddenly became optional. Then the documentary drops the real bomb early. They didn't have it figured out. The finale wasn't fully written before filming. They were writing it while they were filming. Now sure, Rewriting mid-production isn't unheard of. Plenty of directors do it. Nicola's Winding Refn is a solid example. He's rewritten scripts, including endings, during production. So the concept of an unfinished script isn't automatically fatal. But here's the difference. Those directors aren't usually making a global franchise under the Netflix machine. They're not managing massive crews, huge budgets, strict deadlines, insane pressure, and a fan base expecting the end of an era. Stranger Things isn't an experimental indie project, it's a cultural event. The stakes are completely different, and yet they still didn't know how to land the plane. They didn't know how to end the ship. They didn't know how to deliver the culmination event the story demanded, and that becomes painfully obvious. Look, I get it, ending a story like this is hard. You have to wrap arcs, deliver payoffs, close loops, satisfy years of lore, patch plot holes, and keep the emotional core intact. That's one of the hardest things in entertainment. But the problem is the Duffer Brothers' vision for the ending was so simplistic it almost explains why they struggled. They had one big idea, and everything else feels like it got built around that idea in real time, under pressure, while the room argued about what works and what doesn't. And here's what hurts most. If you like the finale, fine. No one's here to tell you you're wrong for enjoying it. But if you're being objective, you have to admit this wasn't even close to the best version of this finale they could have delivered. Not even the same universe. There were clearly stronger roots, darker outcomes, bigger payoffs, more satisfying resolutions. And the documentary basically proves it because the one thing they were truly locked in on, the one concept they knew had to happen, was that Eleven had to offer herself at the end, that she had to make some kind of sacrifice. That was the anchor. That was the plan. And even then, they were still debating whether she should die. They were arguing about it in the writer's room during production while filming. So when fans say the ending feels messy, uncertain, or compromised, that's not just an opinion anymore. That's documented reality. You can literally see writers in the back of the room cringing in real time like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And the funniest part is they weren't even trying to hide it. They're bickering, going back and forth over what Eleven's death would mean, what it represents, what symbolism it carries. And it becomes obvious they had a vague concept but not a unified ending. In their heads, they're chasing the template. Big shows end with a main character dying, ultimate sacrifice, audience cries, final statement. Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad, you name it. So it feels like they tried to force Stranger Things into a generic hero sacrifice ending even though their own writing couldn't fully justify it. And the reason it got so messy is simple. They didn't have a finished script. This was a massive production with a massive budget, and entire departments had no clue what they were building. Sets were designed without full context. Concept artists were guessing. Crews were guessing. People literally say on camera, "We don't have the script yet. We don't know where we're going, so we're just going off whatever." That's not a joke. That's what happened. And you can feel the consequences. The VFX work looks rushed. The final fight looks rushed. Some of the CGI is shaky. The staging is messy. The packing feels shoved through the pipeline at the last second. The whole finale screams deadline panic. It's the kind of ending that makes you stare at the screen thinking, this is what everything was building toward. Now let's talk about the Mind Flayer, because this is where the defense becomes impossible. The Mind Flayer already has a canonical form: smoke particles, a living storm, an entity that infects minds, possesses bodies, and controls the hive like a god. That's the core concept. But instead of committing to that, they don't use it. They go with a kaiju-style physical body, a giant monster that can be damaged by regular bullets like it's an arcade boss. And why? Their explanation is painfully simple. We need a big monster for the kids to fight. That's it. Not lore, not logic, not power scaling, not the supernatural rules they spent 4 seasons building. Just big monster. And it gets worse. They even admit something that should have destroyed the scene. They say a creature that size should realistically outrun the kids instantly and kill them. If it's chasing them, the chase should be over in seconds. They know it. They say it out loud. And then they do nothing to solve it. The kids still outmaneuver it, reach the crevice at the perfect time, flank it, reposition, like they're playing a scripted checkpoint boss level. It doesn't add up. And that tells you something. No serious thought was given to the Mind Flayer as an actual threat. The finale was never about the Mind Flayer. It was about Vecna getting wrecked by 11 again, even though he's supposedly at his strongest ever. It makes no sense. Then the writer's room conversation becomes pure self-destruction. Someone says, "We need demogorgons. We need an army, demodogs, demogorgons, demobats. It has to happen." At first, the duffers agree. Then another writer says they're worried about demo fatigue. Demo fatigue. As if the audience is going to get bored of demogorgons in the final battle of Stranger Things. And I get it, they've used demogorgons before. Maybe they didn't want repetition. But do you understand how many creatures could exist in that world? Especially in Dimension X, the home of endless horror. You have demobats, demodogs, and monsters we've never seen. You could introduce something new. You could evolve the threat. You could expand the nightmare. But instead, they play it safe. They basically go, "Yeah, fair, maybe we just don't do demogorgons." And then they invent excuses. Vecna forgot. Vecna didn't expect them to reach Dimension X so fast. In Dimension X, a living monster ecosystem. You could have escalated. You could have expanded. But no, apparently that would be too new. As if the finale isn't supposed to feel bigger than everything before it. And that's the truth. They didn't prioritize lore, power scaling, or internal logic. They prioritized what looked fun, what looked fresh, what sounded exciting on paper. Who cares about logic? Just give them a huge monster to fight. And of course, you still need Vecna versus 11 because that's the centerpiece, so everything else gets sacrificed. Even though it makes perfect sense Vecna should have had an army waiting, we get basically nothing. Then the question everyone keeps asking, why were there no real deaths? The documentary answers it. The duffers insist, we're not a show about killing people. They frame it like, this is supposed to be fun, it's a kid's show. They claim killing someone important would betray the spirit of Stranger Things. But that excuse feels like a complete cop-out because what show do they think we've been watching? Stranger Things has always been dark, violent, and brutal when it wants to be. Barb gets killed horribly. People get possessed and twisted. Bodies get turned into piles of flesh to form monsters. Innocent people die. An old woman gets turned into meat. This has never been a harmless bedtime story. So when they say, we don't kill characters because we want it to stay fun, it sounds like they're dodging the truth. The truth is simpler. They only kill characters the audience doesn't care about, disposable characters, side characters, people viewers barely know because they know the backlash will be smaller. That's safe. That's controlled damage. The moment it's someone the audience loves, suddenly they're not that kind of show. That reads as cowardice. And I don't want to hear, the plot wouldn't work if someone died. The plot would benefit from death because it would feel real. A Mind Flayer level threat should cost something. Vecna should be able to take people out. A war zone with cosmic evil should have consequences. And then there's the moment that drives me insane. Why does Vecna let Will live back in episode 4? When Vecna has him, he just lets him go, walks away. Why? This is a villain who can hijack the hive, puppet people, infect groups. Yet when he has Will in his hands, it's treated like a scare, not a kill. Because the truth is plot armor took over. They didn't want to kill anyone because they were scared of upsetting fans. And the irony is, by playing it safe, they upset people anyway. Because audiences hate fake danger more than death. Empty stakes. A war where everyone survives. That's what feels dishonest. Then we get the AI controversy. People noticed multiple chat tabs open in the documentary and immediately claimed it proves the writers were using ChatGPT or AI to write major chunks of the season. Now, let's be real. Open chat tabs aren't proof. They could have been using it for research, quick references, brainstorming, organizing notes, checking set details, anything. That alone proves nothing. But what made the conversation explode is that people on Reddit pointed out the dialogue, especially exposition-heavy scenes with characters like Dustin and Robin, sometimes sounds eerily similar to how AI structures language. Not just what's said, but how it's said. The rhythm, the tone, the stacking explanation. If you've used ChatGPT long enough, you recognize that cadence. It repeats patterns. It explains like a summary instead of a conversation. Overly polished exposition. Slightly unnatural phrasing. Dramatic metaphors that don't sound like real human dialogue. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if AI tools were used somewhere in the process. Not to write the entire script, but to help streamline exposition, generate options, outline sequences, punch up scenes. But here's the dark irony. AI also forgets things. It drops details, it contradicts itself, it loses continuity. And if a tool like that influenced the writing even slightly, it would explain a lot of the weird gaps and awkward explanations that feel like they were written, without remembering what the show already established. Then people noticed whiteboard notes hinting at an alternate ending. Not radically different, not a completely new masterpiece, just slightly adjusted. But one key change matters. Hopper knew about Eleven's plan because Kay told him, meaning he had already processed the worst-case scenario. That one detail reframes his behavior and makes him feel less clueless. And then there's the military general subplot, the one nobody cared about, the most pointless storyline in the season. In the alternate version, she dies or the military gets wiped before the final act even begins. And honestly, that would have been better. Because the Linda Hamilton character, the military base plot, the attempt to ground the upside down in government nonsense, it was unbelievably stupid. It felt like dead weight, like a distraction. One of the most unnecessary characters, added to a major TV series in recent memory. And you want proof the writers didn't even care about her. The documentary basically tells you. They interview everyone cast, crew, random workers you barely remember. They give screen time to people the audience doesn't even recognize. But Linda Hamilton, barely anything. And that says everything. Because if you cast Linda Hamilton, an iconic actor tied to legendary franchises like Terminator, you'd expect the documentary to celebrate it. You'd expect discussion about what she brought, what it meant, how big her presence was for the final season. Instead, they barely acknowledge her, which makes it feel obvious. They didn't really know what to do with her. She was added because it sounded cool, because it triggered nostalgia, because it looked good on paper, not because it mattered.